サンリオ男子。
What's up guys, it's Kayla and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be continuing on with Sanrio boys. I wanted to make this episode extra long for you guys since it was on such a long hiatus. In fact, I had about 4 minutes of this video edited back in February and then I never got around to finishing and making a full episode. And I ended up losing that footage, but I did find someone else's channel online that just played through this game in Japanese. So I took a screen recording from that for the first 4 minutes of this video pretty much, but obviously I needed that again to go with my translation. So you'll notice a slightly lower quality just for that clip, and then the regular quality will be back from my new recordings. So yeah, we're going to finish off chapter 3 and play through all of chapter 4, including the bonus story for this episode. I hope you enjoy it. We could play hooky a little longer. What do you say? Play hooky, huh? Mizuno grinned mischievously at me. In my confusion, I looked up at the clock. Sure enough, 10 minutes hadn't even passed since we came here. Okay. I turned from the clock to Mizuno and gave a nod in response. It should be okay if it's just a little while longer. With just the two of us there in the quiet infirmary, the sports ground sounds so far away. What's this strange feeling? It's almost like we're detached from the school. While I'm thinking this, Mizuno's gaze migrates to the window. When it's this quiet, doesn't it feel like something bad might happen? Huh? Mizuno spun around in his chair and it made a squeak. Since we're playing hooky and all. Yeah. From there, Mizuno and I quietly turned our gaze to the window. Maybe that's why my heart's been beating so hard for a while now. A sigh escaped my lips as I thought about what Mizuno had said. Hey, it's okay for you to depend on us a little more. You know, Michelle? Huh? Depend on... Mizuno responds to my soft question by peering at me. His gaze is incredibly kind. You don't have to worry about being well-behaved, like hiding your knee injury. You're too good that it actually makes me worry more instead. At times like these, I'd prefer if you'd speak honestly with me. We'll also rely on you, Michelle. Just remember that. My chest grew warm at Mizuno's words. This is the first time someone said anything like this to me before. Okay, I'm so happy. A smile naturally formed on my lips as I spoke. Mizuno, I don't know why, but you seem just like an older brother. The words came out instinctively as they came to my mind. Because I am an older brother. Mizuno gave a chuckle as he said it. Really? I never told you I had one little sister? Oh, a little sister? I didn't know. I shook my head in response to Mizuno's smiling face. It makes sense now why he's so good at caring for others. So then you must have treated your sister's injuries before? He seemed really used to treating wounds, whereas I'm not so sure someone like Yoshino could do that. Upon me asking this, Mizuno narrowed his eyes and seemed to look off somewhere nostalgically. Yeah, many times back in the day. Now, though, she'd definitely not let me. She'd scream something like sexual harassment. Sexual harassment? I grinned at his joking response. Suddenly I realized Mizuno was staring at me. Why is it? His gaze makes me more aware of the quiet nurse's office. Mizuno? When I call his name and look back at him, he says, "This is completely different." Different? His sweet, low voice makes my heart beat audible from deep inside my chest. I tilted my head as I asked Mizuno. Yeah, because you're definitely not my little sister, Michelle. Still gazing at me, a smile appeared on Mizuno's face. I wonder what he means by that. With him staring at me and speaking in his sweet, low voice, my heart's just beating like crazy. You're more gentle and kind, you know? With that, another squeak was audible as Mizuno stood up from his chair. He suddenly pinched my cheek, and I felt it get hot. Hey, don't tease me. This time Mizuno sat back down to look up at me. I don't ever quite know what Mizuno's thinking. I only know one thing. So with Mizuno's face looking up at me, I said, "It seems like you really love your sister, Mizuno." Uh-huh. Mizuno looked taken aback after I said that, but then he smiled. I really do. You can tell? I listened as Mizuno spoke cheerfully, and he stood up gently. But when Mizuno talks about his sister, he really does look just like an older brother. While I was thinking this, Mizuno stepped forward. We better get going. Shinsuke will be mad. Yeah. I followed behind Mizuno, gazing at his back, and asked him, "What kind of person is your little sister?" Well, Mizuno stopped with his hand on the door. She's super smart. She's kind of like my Melody. But... After he spoke, I caught a glimpse of Mizuno's profile, and he actually looked a bit sad. It was just like his expression that day. A promise, huh? I don't think I can count on that, but... As I recalled that, Mizuno turned to look at me. Right now, my sister's been cold towards me. I'm trying to figure it out. Comfort me, Michelle. With his hand still on the door, Mizuno turned back toward me. She's being cold towards me. I'm trying to figure it out, so comfort me, Michelle. Mizuno, the one who had comforted me, looked at me directly and said those words in one beat. My cheeks grew hot and it felt more like I couldn't breathe. Okay, so we could have responded, how, me, or why? And I really thought that when I was recording this part, I pressed how, because that would obviously be the right answer, but I actually clicked why, which is probably the worst one I could have clicked. Comfort you? Why? Sounds so bitchy. Why? Mizuno showed a smile and answered as if it were obvious. Because I want you to be the one to make me feel better. Is that no good? No, it's not that. My face turned red. What? His sudden laughter caused me to blink with surprise. I guess I lack self-control. Even though it was a joke, your response. Mizuno clutched his stomach as if in pain when he laughed. Your face is really honest. I furrowed my brow at Mizuno. Mizuno's able to enjoy himself regardless of me. Hey, don't make fun of me. Sorry. Mizuno had laughed so much that he had to wipe away his tears. It's too much, but I think it's good that you can take even jokes seriously, Michelle. Mizuno looked refreshed as he smiled at me. It makes me want to take care of you more. I don't ever want you to change. Seriously. His tone is a bit more serious than before, and it caused me to avert my eyes. Even if they're just simple words, still Hey! It caused my heart to beat loudly. Then... Huh?
おかしいな。本気で褒めようと思うと、うまく言葉が出てこねえの。
Huh? My eyes turned to look at the door when I heard a voice. You look fine. I told you he was only pretending to be sick. Shunsuke knew what was up. Hasegawa, Yoshino, and Minamoto-senpai all appeared just outside the nurse's office. Man, I was really worried about you. I thought you suddenly caught a cold or something. Mizuno, who still had his hand on the door, peered up at Hasegawa, who laughed bitterly. Well, I'm glad it was nothing. If it's you, Koda, I'd believe you say you're worried about me. Mizuno's line of sight turned to Yoshino. Shunsuke, on the other hand, would never. Naturally. Your acting sucked. How could I not understand what you were really up to? Mizuno laughed happily at the scowling Yoshino. Yoshino and Mizuno really do seem to get along. I secretly thought this while watching them bicker back and forth. We left the infirmary and all set out towards the gym. Ryo's match should be going on now. Serious? Then let's go support. Mizuno and Hasegawa chatted just ahead of me as we walked over. I thought they seemed to be enjoying themselves, even though they're not like everyone else. I want to understand Mizuno even just a little bit more, like to know what he's thinking about. As we were walking, I suddenly heard a voice call out to me from behind. Hey, if you keep walking straight, you're gonna hit that wall. Sorry. With Minamoto-senpai's words, I realized I was about to have a collision with a wall, so I came to a stop. You're spacing out. Is something up? Just as thinking causes me to almost run into a wall, Minamoto-senpai asks me, You're spacing out. Is something up? Responding with confusion, I looked up at Minamoto-senpai, who is standing just a bit behind me. I noticed Yoshino is standing next to him. Like I was thinking, these two know Mizuno really well, huh? I wonder if I could just come out and ask them about Mizuno. Well actually, there's something I want to ask you. I gazed back at Minamoto, who is still tilting his head at me, and began to speak. First, because I am an older brother. I never told you I had one little sister? Recalling our conversation in the nurse's office, I decided to ask him. I heard from Mizuno that he has a little sister. Have you met her? Minamoto-senpai responded earnestly to my question. Yeah, I have. Shunsuke gets along with her too, don't you? Not particularly. I mean, I greet her in that, but that's where it ends. I see. Yoshino's response made me think about Mizuno's words. She's being cold towards me. I'm trying to figure it out, so comfort me, Michelle. Maybe he's in a fight with his sister. When I think this, Yoshino glances at Mizuno, then speaks.
At any rate, it's something that Yu feels down about right now.
Huh? I blinked my eyes in surprise.
Now that you mention it, he has said she's in her rebellious phase right now.
Minamoto nodded, and Yoshino sighed.
Well, he basically did raise his little sister.
Yoshino sighs before telling me.
Well, he did basically raise his little sister. That's probably a shock too, huh?
So he raised her? I repeated the thought. How does he mean, I wonder? I tilted my head. Seeing my interest, Yoshino continued.
Well, his parents both work, so he mainly looks after her. He does all the housework and takes care of his little sister.
Oh, I see. Then he scratched the back of his neck and narrowed his eyes as if remembering something.
I remember back then, Yuri declared, "I'm gonna marry my big brother." Now she'd probably say that's gross.
Yoshino looked towards the sky and knit his brows.
I understand feeling down, but always saying he's lonely?
It makes sense now. I remember what happened in the courtyard that day. That's why at that time...
A promise, huh? I don't think I can count on that, but...
It seems his words had that kind of feeling behind them. There was a brief silence before I said a word. I wonder if he can't... At my words, Minamoto-senpai took a breath.
It's hard for us to meddle in his family problems, but...
Just as I thought, but...
Just let it lie.
Yoshino was still looking ahead as he said this.
Other people deciding the meanings of these things, it'd be overindulgent.
Indulgent, huh? Still watching Yoshino, I thought back to Mizuno and Ai's talk earlier.
You can rely on us a little more, Michelle. You don't have to worry about being well-behaved, like hiding your knee injury. You're too good that it actually makes me worry more instead.
Mizuno wants people to rely on him, but Yoshino thinks that's indulgent. Even though they are exact opposites, they're both kind people.
What?
Yoshino asked in a low voice when he notices me staring at him. It's nothing. I understand. Yoshino softened his sour expression.
At any rate,
Minamoto-senpai turned to face Yoshino.
You're okay talking about others without them knowing?
Well, yeah, that's fine. Yoshino smirked at Minamoto-senpai. His mischievous response, so different from before, makes my heart skip a beat.
He's always saying too much. Now we're even.
As Yoshino said this, my eyes caught Minamoto-senpai's. We both naturally smiled, and then just a second later...
What is it? What is it?
I wonder if he could hear us. Mizuno had turned back this way.
What are you guys talking about?
Bonus story. They call it a bonus story, but it just goes in line with the rest of the stories, and there's no CG, so I don't really get it. The sound of the big sports meet coming from the distant gym reverberated. On our way from the infirmary to the gym, I was chatting a bit with Yoshino and Minamoto-senpai.
What is it? What is it? What are you guys talking about?
He turned around to ask us, and Yoshino blatantly averted his eyes.
Nothing, really. What's with the attitude? You're acting super obvious.
Even then, Yoshino didn't say a word. Mizuno furrowed his brows together. He glanced over to Minamoto-senpai standing next to him.
Prez,
you spoke like a puppy wanting attention, so Minamoto answered him.
It was nothing bad. If it was bad, I'd cry.
After exclaiming this retort and laughing, he turned his attention to me. He moved in towards me. Now he was right next to me, peering into my face.
Hey.
He's so close I can hear him breathe.
You're honest, Michelle. Be a good girl and tell me.
Is it my imagination, or are his eyes and his voice so alluring?
What were you guys talking about?
I instinctively look over to Minamoto-senpai and Yoshino for help, but they didn't say anything. Perhaps, seeing their reaction, our prior conversation popped into my head.
At any rate, it's something that Yu feels down about right now. Now that you mention it, he has said she's in her rebellious phase right now.
It'd probably be better not to bring up the conversation about his little sister. Thinking that, I glossed over the situation with a smile. It's a secret. Just then, Mizuno touches my lips. His fingers made an X over my lips. What? Without moving or even taking a breath, I looked up at Mizuno. He made a mischievous expression and said,
Unfortunately, I can't allow you the right to remain silent right now.
His face right now. It made my heart beat wildly. This so isn't fair. He took his fingers from my lips, but the loud beating in my chest continued. Having watched this exchange, Minamoto-senpai and Yoshino sighed.
That was excessive. Annoying. Hey, it's only because you guys over there are hiding something, Shushu.
At the same time that you said this, Hasegawa walked from just a bit ahead and called out to us.
Hey, how long have you guys been over there? I don't know if Ryo's game is over, so... Hey, that's right. Oh no.
Murmuring to himself, he returned back over to Hasegawa like nothing had happened.
That was a surprise.
When we arrived at the gym, the sounds of cheers and the ball bouncing against the gym floor resounded. In the middle of the excitement was Nishimiya's volleyball match.
He's giving it his all, huh?
I looked at the courtside scoreboard to see that Nishimiya's class had a small lead.
Let's show her support.
With a big smile, Mizuno stepped 1 foot forward. Then he took a big breath and shouted, "Go Ryo!" Mizuno's loud voice reverberated out to the middle of the court. Nishimiya looked surprised on the court and he blushed red. Looks like he definitely heard. Hasegawa whispered to Mizuno,
He's definitely gonna get mad at you after this. You were too conspicuous.
Yoshino laughed in response.
I think he'll be fine.
I can imagine it. I smiled in spite of myself and looked up at Mizuno's happy face supporting his friend. I feel heat rise in me. Mizuno sure is a mystery. He's the kind of guy that leaves me wanting more. I touch the back of my neck and a sigh escapes my lips. His teasing face, his serious face, his sad face, I want to know them all. The curtains had closed on the great sports meet and all of the many things that happened. I walked along through the streets during peak hour of people coming home from school. Of course, Nishimiya did get mad at Mizuno. I recall this being back at the club room after the sports meet was over.
You have to stop being so loud.
He's talking about when we were all rooting for Nishimiya at the match.
Sorry, my bad. Please forgive me, Ryo.
Mizuno put his hands together, pleading, and Nishimiya remained huffy.
You show no reflection of your actions.
Just thinking about that puts a smile on my face. A lot happened, but it was a really fun sports meet. I looked down at my knee. It still hurts a bit. I took a breath and thought, okay, so the choices are, somehow I think I'll sleep good tonight, next year will be just as fun I think, or everyone is so cool. I think I'm gonna go with next year will be fun too. Next year's sport meet will be even more fun, I bet. I grasped at my hair as it blew in the wind. I looked up at the beautiful, tranquil blue sky. Spending time with everyone increases the good times that I enjoy. From here on out, there will be so many fun times. Just then, excuse me. I turned around, suddenly hearing a voice. An old lady that I'd never seen before was standing there. Could you tell me the way? I nodded in response to the distressed elder lady. Yeah. I ended up walking with the lady to guide her. When I finally got the old lady to her destination, I was a little turned around myself, but at least she got safely to her destination. Well, I better head home. I turned to go back to the train station when... Heading along the route to Musashi Kosugi Station. I noticed facing me and staring at me was a middle school girl. She's so cute and kind of mature looking, but she looks familiar somehow. I thought this while passing the girl. Hey, yeah? She called out to me and I stopped in my tracks. I knew we must have been acquainted. I looked at the girl who was still staring at me. You're friends with my brother, aren't you? Huh? Her brother? Staring straight at my surprised face, the girl smiled. I'm Mizuno Yu's little sister, Yuri. After running into Mizuno's little sister Yuri, she invited me to a family restaurant along the way to the station. How do you know about me? I saw you here at this restaurant with my brother. Oh, I see. I nodded at Yuri, who was sitting across from me. When she said that, I thought, the two of them really do look alike. The waitstaff brought over our drinks that we'd ordered. Hey. Yes? She had a questioning tone in her voice as she placed her cup down on the table and looked up at me. She had a serious face when she asked me, Are you my brother's girlfriend? Ooh. After the sports meet, on my way to the train station, I ran into Mizuno's little sister Yuri. We ended up here at a family restaurant. Are you my brother's girlfriend? Gobsmacked by her question, I almost choked on my drink. No, definitely not. My answer spilled out. My face grew hot and Yuri looked I couldn't bear her staring, so I took a sip of tea to distract myself. Then I turned the questions over to her. Why did you stop me today? At my topic-changing question, Yuri grasped her cup and answered. Earlier, when you helped that old lady. Huh? Old lady? I remembered guiding the old lady through town. When I saw that, I thought, my brother's girlfriend's such a good person. I was a little worried. Big bro doesn't talk about that kind of stuff at home. Well, I don't talk to him, but... What Yoshino said at the great sports meet came to mind. I remember back then Yuri declared, I'm gonna marry Big Brother. Now she'd probably say, that's gross. I understand feeling down, but always saying he's lonely. Even though he said that, Yuri said she's worried about her older brother. Watching me think, Yuri knit her brows. It's true, that's why. I instinctively smiled at Yuri's response. Both of our cell phones on the table buzzed simultaneously. It's a text. We both checked our phones. It's from Mizuno? His text has a picture attached to it. Cheers to a job well done at the great sports meet. Next time, Michelle should come too. You. Everyone looks like they're having fun in the picture he attached. Even Nishimiya, who's normally pouting, has a smile in the photo. How nice. Looks fun. I smiled too just looking at it. I feel Yuri staring at me again. Yuri has a delighted expression on. I wonder who her message is from. I looked up at her and she was still staring. My boyfriend asked to meet me. I better get going. At Yuri's words, I nearly spit out my tea. Just now, did she actually? Mumbling a bit, I tried asking. But boyfriend? Who could it be? I mean, Yuri's still in middle school. Yep. Yuri shook her head with delight and prepared to leave. Even though we just started dating recently, I'm so head over heels for him. Oh, I see. That's great. Yuri wore a big smile when she talked about him. Hanging out with him is different than when I hang out with girlfriends, and he's different from my brother too. Yuri tells me she's meeting up with her boyfriend with a smile. Hanging out with him is different than when I hang out with girlfriends, and he's different from my brother too. Hanging out. Yuri's words prompt me to speak. After all, you could say I'm hanging out with Mizuno. There's a tight squeeze in my chest when I think about that. Then Yuri makes a serious expression. I've decided to love him with all I have. With all she has, huh? I couldn't really say anything to that. Wow, even though she's a middle schooler, I can't help but respect her. Yuri stood up and stared at me more. As if she noticed my feelings, she took out her phone and smiled. That's right, can we be friends? I'd like to talk to you about lots of things. Yeah, of course. Yuri's so grown up, even more than me as a high schooler, so we exchanged contacts. Hey. Yuri turned her eyes back to me, and I asked her reluctantly. Dating, what's it feel like? Love? Yuri tilted her head and I gulped. Sorry, that was a weird thing to ask. Finishing typing in her contact, she handed over the phone and responded. I don't really understand it yet myself, but... She held her own phone up to her chest and squeezed it. Somehow, it's like a squeeze in your chest. That kind of feeling. I repeated back, like a squeeze? I put my hand to my chest like Yuri did. So then, in that moment, someone instantly came to my mind. My chest. Okay guys, so that was it for chapter 3 and 4. I hope you enjoyed and are looking forward to how the story is progressing. I feel like the main character definitely knows that she likes you now, and I hope we can get switched over to a first name basis soon too, because it's so weird having them call me Michelle. That's my middle name, but I put it as my last name because they usually just say Kayla. But anyways, let me know what you think of Yu's little sister in the comments below, and I'll talk to you guys next time. Bye!